a package just came in and I want to show what's in it. That's a big box. Let's do this.
This video is going to be separated in 3 parts. First is what I use from hardware, that is all the tools you need to actually film. Then software. Software is every tool I use on my computer to edit my videos, make thumbnails and so forth. And the last part is I'm going to go step by step from no money at all to having all the money in the world. I'm going to explain to you what you should buy first and what comes after each step. For all the gear that's talked about in the video, there is actually an affiliate link down in the description.
I actually have 2 setups that I use. The first setup I use is actually a talking head style of setup, and the other one is a vlogging setup. So let's start with the vlogging setup. So for a vlogging perspective, I actually use my DJI Osmo Pocket 3. This is a camera I actually got recently, but the fun part about this is that it has an inbuilt gimbal. That means that your footage will be stabilized without cropping in the image. That will result in nicer quality videos. I actually got the creator combo, which comes with this nice bag and some other extensions like a microphone and actually an extended battery with a tripod, which you can screw off, and some other parts. So every time you see me making a vlog, it's actually on this thing. I leave this most of the time in auto settings because the light changes outside. Then it's easier for me to let the camera decide whether to expose more or less. But I bought another accessory for my DJI Osmo Pocket 3, and these are these ND filters. These make sure I can keep my shutter speed down so the motion blur stays fine. Let me prove that to you.
If you look at this and I pause this, you can see that every frame is actually in focus. Now let's put the ND filter on. Now if I pause, you can see that not everything is in focus, and this will result in a more cinematic looking video.
Well, that was quick. That's the only thing I use for my vlogging setup because that's the only thing you need to use for your vlogging setup. So let's continue to the talking head setup. This is a lamp. And I'm actually going to change this lamp because this one is actually cheap, but I didn't just buy it because it was less cheap, because I actually had 2 and one of them broke down. This is actually the lamp. Let's open it up. So this is actually the softbox. Alright, I'm done with the setup. I'll show you in a minute how it looks compared to the other setup. Alright, this is what remains. And now you see my big camera. Let's talk about that next. This is a Sony ZV-E10. And this is the perfect camera for beginners because it is actually an APC camera, which makes it way less expensive than a full frame camera. And because I'm not really trying to film that cinematic, which you can actually do very well with this, I don't think I need something better than this. I'm not going to go into the specs of this camera because there are so many videos about that. And the lens that I most often use is this one, which is the Sigma 16mm. This is the perfect lens for small room setups because it's actually a very wide field of view, so I can have my camera pretty close to me and still have an awesome image. Okay, but I also have another lens, but I honestly almost never use this lens in the studio setup. But I use this to take awesome photos. I kind of like taking photos as well, and then this beast comes in handy. The reason that I actually bought the Sony ZV-E10 is because there are so many tutorials on YouTube about this camera, and it has proven its worth over the times. Because this is not a new camera, this is actually a pretty old one. but it makes so that I can, whatever problem I have with the camera, I can just look it up on YouTube or on the internet and find a solution quickly. Then there is one accessory I need for my lenses because I think they are so important, and that is an ND filter. This is actually a group of ND filters. This is a brand called Earth who had some kits. There is a variable ND filter in this, a polarized filter in this, and just a UV filter, which is actually just a protection for your lens so your lens doesn't get scratched. Because sometimes if wind flies through the air, it brings along some sand, and it's better for a cheap glass to get destroyed than the glass on your lens. So now let's talk audio. I already briefly talked about the DJI Mic 2, which comes along with the Osmo Pocket 3. That's actually not the mic that I use for this camera. The mic that I use for my camera is actually this. This is the previous version of the DJI mics. It's a kit, so it comes with all the tools you would ever need, including 2 mics and a receiver. It also comes in this bag, which also has some wind muffs, some dead cats, if you will, that just apply by putting it in and screwing it on, like this. The next unmissable thing that I need for my camera are extra batteries. I have in total 4 batteries for my camera, and this is not because I was like on a spending spree. No, it's actually because I bought my camera second-handed, and the guy who sold me that had spare batteries and gave them for free with the camera. The same with the cage that is on my Sony ZV-E10. This is also very nice because the cage allows me to put more gadgets on my Sony ZV-E10. The last thing you saw on my table was a drone. I don't use this so much, but I like having this in my kit because it can give me some clips that you normally wouldn't see that often. It is actually also from DJI, the DJI Mini 3 Pro. I got the Pro version because it can follow me then, and that is easier if you're a sole content creator. Oh yeah, by the way, if you want to buy some stuff on this, I'll make sure that there are some affiliate links down in the description so you can pick them up and help the channel out as well. Next up, we have 2 things that remain. Let's start with this one. This is actually just a Samsung hard drive where I keep all my footage on that I'm currently using or I'm going to use, like some B-roll clips or just videos that I just made or any other project that I have. This is an SSD one, so that makes it very fast. You can edit from this. And then we have the computer. This is a MacBook Pro from 2023, the 14-inch, and it has a RAM of 16 gigabytes. I recommend upgrading to 16 gigabytes because if you need to edit your videos, you actually need 16 gigabytes to let it run properly. And even then, it doesn't really run properly all the time. This is by far the most important tool on this table, because without a computer you can't upload, you can't edit any of your footage. So if you want to spend money on something, it's on this. And for last, there is one thing I didn't talk about yet, and that is the tripod that I'm using. The tripod that I'm using is one from Small Rig. It's actually marketed as a photo tripod. Why? Because you cannot do a pan and tilt motion. Don't worry if you don't know what that is, but I don't need that. It's perfect for talking head videos and for still images like this.
And now, the moment you've all been waiting for, the new setup. Now for the software. There are actually 2 types of software I'm using to make my videos perfect. And the first one is DaVinci Resolve. DaVinci Resolve is actually a free editing software that you can use to edit your footage. It has all the tools you would ever need in the free version, and if you want you could upgrade, but you don't even need to do that. Upgrading comes with a little bit of features like auto captions or other AI tools that are not available in the free version. But honestly, I don't think if you're starting out that any of that is important. You should just start using DaVinci Resolve in the free version and get a work around it so you know how to actually operate that system. And if you still decide to upgrade, it would cost you around $295 to this day. Next up, you need to make a thumbnail. And thumbnails I usually make with Canva because there is also a free plan and it is just a drag and drop program which is very easy to use.
So what should you buy first? But before we dive into that, if you liked this video so far, like and subscribe so this video can be sent out to more people. Let's get back to the video.
If you have no money at all, I recommend just using your phone to film your videos. Cameras in your phone nowadays are actually quite good. The problem is that the audio quality will not be as good. For lighting, you can use just a window, but the problem there is that light from the sun is actually unpredictable with clouds and rain and climate all playing a part in that. But if you have some dollars to spare, I would recommend you invest in a microphone. One of the cheapest alternatives is actually the Rode Micro. This is actually a very good microphone to begin with. This is a shotgun microphone and you have to keep it actually quite close to your mouth to actually get good audio. So putting the camera all the way out there and putting the microphone on top will not sound good at all. It is better to keep it as close as possible to your mouth. At this point, this microphone actually costs $65. That is actually a very good price for that good of an audio upgrade, because people can watch crappy videos all the time, but if the audio is bad, that's a problem. If you have $50 more, I would recommend you buy a studio light with a softbox. You must know these are one of the cheaper ones, but you must look for a dimmable light that is actually bi-color, so you can adjust the color of your lamp. This $50 will upgrade your quality by 2 or 3 times or even more, because lighting is actually way more important than having a good camera. Okay, we're still filming on our phone, but the next part is where you should upgrade your camera. I've already shown the cameras that I'm using, but if you start out and you want to have an overall all-round camera, then I suggest you pick up the DJI Osmo Pocket 3. And if you have some more dollars to spare, I would recommend you actually buy the Creator Combo set. If you want to upgrade even more, that is actually more of a cinematic look that you're looking for then. If you want to invest even more, you can even go up to full-frame cameras, but I personally don't use that because I don't need an even more cinematic look than I already have, because I actually make more entertainment videos and educational videos. If you enjoyed this video, you might also enjoy a day in my life video of how I worked at a first aid post at the beach.